Hi, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. Are you excited to see another video about musicians that are coming from Norway? I bet you are. Today I have prepared for you one artist that is coming from a classical background and two artists that are recent, like the new and popular young stars. Are you excited? Let's start! So the first one, I'm going to talk about a star whose voice you are, I'm 100% sure that you have heard her. I am 100% sure, and I'm going to prove that a little bit later. So yeah, she's a very famous soprano from Norway, and she has been addressed in some articles that I read as the Norwegian soprano superstar, and she has done so many great things, and there are so many interesting facts about her, and I cannot wait just to start. If you are Norwegian, most probably the name of Sissel, sorry for the pronunciation, is definitely familiar to you. But everybody more or less know her only by her name, Sissel, because she's a great star, and great stars do not need any surnames. They are recognized by their names, just like Madonna. When you say Madonna, you know who's Madonna. When you say Sissel, you know who is Sissel. Sissel is considered one of the world's top crossover sopranos because she's been interacting and making crossovers with artists from a different music genre, like for example pop stars, rappers. Also she's been into folk songs and many other music genres. But of course she's recognized by her crystal clear voice and her soprano, and when I say you have heard her, I mean it. Well, we have all seen the very famous romantic movie called Titanic, and when I say Titanic, you usually think about Celine Dion singing "My Heart Will Go On." But what would you say if I say Sissel is also very clearly heard in that movie? Her voice carries us through the movie in the most dramatic moments. We get all of these cry vibes when we heard her voice on the background, and clearly her voice can be heard on the background of the most iconic dramatic scene of the movie. Jack, I'm flying! Do you remember that? James Horner, he was responsible for the Titanic soundtrack, actually auditioned around 25 to 30 singers in order to pick out the best voice, and Sissel won this competition and this audition, and this is why we hear her on the Titanic movie.
He said that when he heard my last Norwegian album, there was "I Know in Heaven a Castle" song. It's an old traditional religious hymn, so that was the song that helped James to decide that this is the voice he wanted. My voice had that kind of longing, that atmosphere that he wanted the voice of Titanic to have.
But why didn't she receive the chance to sing the song that is performed by Celine Dion, namely "My Heart Will Go On"? Actually, James Horner revealed that Sissel could have sang that song, only his preference was to Celine Dion's career. What a shame. I think Sissel would sound great too. And speaking about movies, her voice can also be heard on the famous movie of The Lord of the Rings. And she actually later on went on a tour with Lord of the Rings Symphony, which is basically the music created around J.J.R. Tolkien's novel. She is famous for her amazing voice, as I mentioned before, but also she has done crazy collabs with the world recognized stars. I will just name some: Andrea Bocelli, Placido Domingo, and many others, and she has even had a duet with Brian May. Yes, that's the guy from the world famous band The Queen. Now that I got your attention and you understand what kind of great star is Sissel, Let's try and figure out a little bit about her background and how she started and how her career went off to become this world-recognized singer. Sissel was born in Bergen, and at the age of 9 she already understood that she is going to link her life to music.
The radio was always on, and my mom, I recall that my mom was always singing. She was always singing with the songs she heard on the radio, and she would also sing, like she would find other parts and humming with, and you know. So I guess my parents, they were very musical, but they didn't take any education or they didn't do anything else. But music was always around me, and that my brothers, they were listening to Pink Floyd and Kate Bush, and so I was, you know, Queen. So I was a little bit. And my mom and dad listened to country and western and stuff. So I was a little bit mixed, but in a way that made me love music.
On Sundays, you always would go for a hike with your family.
Yes, I grew up with that every Sunday. And believe me, in Bergen, the sun doesn't always shine on a Sunday. It's a lot of rain. It was very wet, but it didn't matter. I mean, they would say, come on, we go out hiking up in the mountains, and since we were there, we were living by the mountains, so it was quite natural. I didn't go to church on Sundays, but in a way I felt like coming out in the nature, that was my church.
And in the 1980s she joined the TV choir and started to perform there. And in 1983 she already had her own independent performance as a solo artist on a children's TV show. Since 1983 she was quite often performing on different TV shows and different TV events. On 1986 she also performed in the Eurovision Song Contest, which was held on that year in Bergen's Greek Hall. However, she wasn't like a participant, she was performing in the intermission, and of course she was recognized. And afterwards, in 1987, she was approached and offered to take part in Norway's Eurovision Song Contest as a participant, however she declined. Sissel has a special relation to Christmas. At the age of 18 she released her first Christmas album, and later on she kinda got hooked on Christmas things, and she made a lot of like concerts, performances during Christmas time, and it was not only in Norway, it was also worldwide. And when her album Glade Jul came out, it went crazy famous. It was like the bestseller of Christmas albums in Norway, and up to this moment there have been around 1 million copies of this album sold in Norway. And since the release of this album Glade Jul, she is now being like addressed as the voice of Christmas.
At the age of 18, Sissel found herself in Los Angeles, where a producer had been working with her manager on a plan to break America. They presented the plan to her, and much to their annoyance, she turned it down. She felt that it would put her in a box when she was still on discovering what style or styles of music she enjoyed most.
In 1993, she made a short appearance in the Olympic Games opening ceremony in Albertville in France. She was dressed like a princess sitting on a polar bear, and she was looking like a Norwegian fairy tale character, and she was performing a song from Norwegian composer Jan Garbarek. And on the 1994, she was performing on the opening and closing ceremonies in the Olympic Games that were held in Lillehammer. During the Olympics, a legendary Spanish tenor Placido Domingo visited Norway, where he came across one of her earlier albums. He contacted Sissel, and the next day they recorded Fire in Your Heart, an English version of Sir Elton John, the official theme song of the Lillehammer Olympics.
So it's a great fun. I think she's really wonderful. She has such a beautiful, beautiful voice, and I hear, of course, her record, complete record, and it is really beautiful.
After that, Placido Domingo invited Sissel to take part in his annual concert called Christmas in Vienna, and this concert is really popular.
But yeah, she has performed in front of Charles, the Prince of Wales, sang on prestigious events and different opera stages all over the world, but that is not it. She also made crossovers with other musicians that are not opera related at all, like collab with American rapper Warren G, where she actually sung a refrain in Russian from the Borodin opera Prince Igor that complemented the rapping. And she even had a duet with a Danish goth rock band.
She is very recognized internationally, and there are so many interesting facts and so many performances that I could mention here in this video, but I'm afraid that I would need more hours for telling all of this information. But you all know that I'm all about the facts and short stories, so in this video I just wanted to put the information out that there is Sissel, this wonderful voice who is coming from Norway, and if you by some kind of chance you don't know anything about her, you should definitely check out her music, check out her performances. I promise you will not regret that.
Sissel turned 50 in 2019 and she celebrated it with an album called Reflections. She released one song per week in line with a video on her website and YouTube explaining what this particular song means to her. Sissel definitely is a phenomenon as she combines a divine voice with a great personality. Sissel is now 51 and she is definitely not slowing down, so we will definitely continue to enjoy her talent.
No matter what you believe in or not believe in, I think it's important to slow down, close your eyes, be still, rest your thoughts,
Considering the few weeks old events in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, I decided that I simply must include this artist in this video. And I think you already understand where is this going. I will be talking about Tix. Raise your hands who watched the Eurovision Song Contest in Rotterdam. I was one of them, and I am not afraid to admit that. I know that this Eurovision Song Contest show receives quite much of different critique, but let's be honest guys, it is a really good show, it is very interesting to watch, and it brings together so many countries in one moment that I think it's unique. But in case you didn't watch it, just a little recap. Norway was represented by this young artist called Tix. Although Europe did not actually understood his performance because he didn't win this competition and also didn't get into the topical songs, I think that he performed very well, and to be honest, I had quite high expectations from that song, but well, happened what happened. As they say, you never know what is the mood of Europe and who is going to win. I wanted to talk about Tix not only because he participated in Eurovision, but also because of his activity during the last year. He's been speaking out about different problems that are topical to so many people, and he's kind of empowering them and showing them that there's a reason to live, and there's always help somewhere and you should never give up, and I think it's a very good thing that he's doing. In my home country, in many other countries, I guess the name of Tix is unfamiliar. I think that's basically because he is famous within the framework of Norway, and he kind of got his public appearance during this Eurovision Song Contest. It wasn't like, San Marino did. They invited the world-famous American rapper Florida in order to get more votes and attention. I'm not being bitchy here, I'm just stating the fact. So, but who is Tix? Where is he coming from and what is his story? His real name is Andreas Haukeland. He's born in nearby Oslo, and he was born in 1993. Why is he called Tix? So the stage name Tix actually comes from a condition that Andreas is suffering from. It's called Tourette syndrome, and some of the world famous stars also have revealed that they have this kind of illness, if I can say like that. I think Billie Eilish also revealed in one of her interviews that she has a Tourette syndrome.
It's something I've lived with my whole life, and everybody knows, like everybody in my family, all my friends, all the people that are closest to me know I have it, and it's not anything different. I didn't want that to define who I was. I didn't want it to be like the artist with Tourette's, Billie Eilish is on Ellen.
Basically, it is about involuntarily tics that your body gives out. Tics took this Tourette syndrome and changed it into his stage name, because tic as a tic from Tourette syndrome, and he just changed the letter C to X, and this is how tics came into this world. Also, because of these tics, Andreas is wearing always his sunglasses. People think it's like just a part of his image, but actually he's hiding his facial tics behind of these sunglasses. And yeah, speaking about image, another very important part of his image is the headband, and also he is appearing in the public in concerts in a fur coat. So I recently watched a documentary about this artist, and there he revealed how he actually started his road to his musical career.
I ran home after school and started to look for a guitar, and we had one. It was terrible, but I played and played. During weekends I woke up with the sun and played until bedtime. For half of a year I played so much music, and all my meals were brought to my room. Playing music was the only thing I wanted to do. Eventually I understood that the guitar wasn't enough. I had to learn the piano. Learning it was very easy to me, and then I understood that in order to become an artist I need a band, but there was no one I could play with, so I wrote songs for myself.
So Tix started to create his own songs, and more or less they were more like party songs and crazy dancing songs. And he became like a phenomenon in Norway. He was very popular among Norwegian youth, especially the Norwegian youth that were graduates, because he created like hymns for Norwegian graduate parties. Tix was this crazy party person, singing, dancing, but actually the truth is that Tix is like somewhat different person from what actually Andreas in real life is.
Tix and Andreas became two different ways of dealing with the world. While Andreas wants to fit in and has concerns about standing out too much and making mistakes, Tix is just one big mistake. Tix dares to confront all who say what is right and what is wrong. In his own head, he is the best in the world.
So then a problem occurred, because people started to associate him only with this party maker Tix, and nobody was kind of interested into Andreas's real life, into his real feelings, and he became very lonely, a little bit depressed, and he even started to think about leaving this world.
The bigger Tix became, the more Andreas faded away. Friends stop calling you because they think you're too busy, or they are friends who only show up for free concert tickets or free drinks, but they're really not interested in how you are doing. I felt extreme loneliness that became deeper and deeper. Every time I wanted to talk to someone about that, they thought they are talking to Tix. It was impossible to convince them I'm not actually Tix.
I think it's a very, very sad experience, and I think he was very brave to open about this on an interview. And then came the Eurovision Song Competition in Norway in order to choose the best performer for the competition in Rotterdam. So Tix wrote a song, Fallen Angel. It's very unusual for him, it's very emotional, very open, and not like the Tix party guy, you know, what I was talking about to you before. And actually, after his first performance, the media went off quite wild. They were very critical and really harsh on him. And in his documentary, Tix actually revealed that he had called the National Television of Norway and also his record label and said that he's going to drop off the competition because this is too much for him. But then he sat down and thought about it and decided he will not give up. And so he decided that he is going to continue the competition, and the result is that he won and he was representing Norway in Rotterdam.
After the win with more than 380,000 votes, Tix finally spoke out about the reaction he received about his song from major media representatives. There is a delicate balance between satire and bullying. I think it is stupid that both adults and young people get to read music reviews where there is obvious bullying in the text. It sends a signal that talking like that about other people is okay. So, was the critique so harsh? Well, judge yourselves. A reviewer from a very influential Norwegian media wrote that he would eat Tix's headband in a bed made of the shards of his sunglasses if his song would win the national Norwegian Song Contest. He called the song helpless. An interesting fact, Tix later met his harshest critique on a live debate where everyone was kinda expecting an apology from Anders Gröneberg, that is the name of the critique. He ate Tix's headband, though he did not apologize, as he expressed an opinion that Tix's emotional revelation on the show about his childhood and other problems is merely a trick to attract attention from the public. Well, everyone has the right for his own opinion, but is this the right way how to say it?
Well, all I can say is I hope he liked the taste of Tix's headband. I think that this was like a great performance that showed Tix as an artist, and now he is going to gain more recognition outside Norway. But did you know that he is already recognized outside Norway? I was so surprised to discover that Andreas actually co-wrote a song for the world-famous American singer Eva Max, and the song is called Sweet But Psycho. I am sure you have heard that. And this only proves that this guy has a very good songwriting talent. Revealed that after Rotterdam, the Eurovision Song Contest, and when the COVID restrictions will be removed, he will be going to Los Angeles, where he was invited to write songs. So I am very, very sure that we are going to hear more best-selling hits from Andreas. Another thing that I actually like about him is that he never gives up. He is very dedicated, and although he had received quite harsh critique from the media in Norway, he said in his interview that I still feel like I have so much to accomplish here in Norway.
Also, just wanted to say that different generations have different idols and music preferences. Not everyone is so melomaniac as I am listening to all kinds of music. And let's just accept that. I mean, I would never say my gran has a bad music taste if she does not know, let's say, Tupac. You know what I'm saying?
And maybe Tix is not so lonely anymore, because during Eurovision weeks we were witnessing quite many videos showing that Tix is actually quite attracted to one of the contestants representing Azerbaijan. Her name is Efendi, and he actually invited her on a date, and they were like exchanging nice words with each other. And yeah, I hope it works for them if it was true, because it could be like a part of a show just to attract attention. But you know, you never know, it's a showbiz. But if it's like true, I'm really, really rooting for that couple, because they really look nice together, and people on the internet have already created a hashtag for this couple, which is #FNTix. How nice! So that being said, let's move on to another artist. I chose her not only because she's talented and creates great pop songs, but also because of her name. Her name is Dagny, and my mom's name is also Dagny. I know when I did research about the origins of our names, like my name is from Indian origin, Gita, but my mom's name, Dagny, when I was doing the research, I came across with the fact that Dagny is actually of Norwegian origin. And I felt it's really great, so I chose Dagny for today's video as number 3. Dagny Norval Sandvik is actually coming from a place called Tromsø, and if you are a frequent watcher of my videos, you most probably can name another very famous band coming from that place. If you haven't seen the video, I suggest you do that, because the band is called Röyksopp, and we all know this electronical music duo. But this video is about Dagny. She actually comes from a very respected musician family. Her father is a very recognized and well-known jazz guitarist, Øystein Norvoll, and her mother is a famous jazz singer.
When I was a kid, I dreamt about being an astronaut and an archaeologist and a football keeper and a ballerina and a drummer. But I never really dreamt about being a musician, or a singer. Yeah, that came later. My parents are musicians, but they do a very different kind of music than I do. They did jazz and bossa nova, and I never really saw myself as a musician, or definitely not as an artist. But then it was this Christmas, Eva Cassidy was on the television, and she was sitting in this little dark room and playing on her guitar, and I was just so inspired by that. And that was when I realized that I wanted to do songwriting. So I actually wanted to do songwriting way before I wanted to be a performer. But then I guess one thing led to the other. My first memory of sound was definitely being a kid in my house. Every time when we'd gone to bed, we would have my sister and me was in a bunk bed. And when we went to bed, it just went so quiet, and then you would hear the sound of the jazz or the bossa nova that my parents were playing downstairs in the living room. And it's such a nice memory because it was such a safe and nice feeling. I think that growing up with bossa nova at home and having that rhythm around it's definitely been part of why I'm so obsessed with grooves and rhythms and music.
So Dagny actually is one of those artists who is famous also outside Norway, but I will get to that a little bit later. Dagny actually discovered her passion for music only in her 20s when she moved to live in London. In 2012 she was performing in a small club together with her music partner, and she felt like things weren't actually going anywhere, so she decided to apply for university and get a degree in media design. The following summer she released a song called Black Beat, and it went crazy popular, and things actually got crazy from that moment in a good sense. On one Friday in September she received a phone call saying that Zane Lowe actually wants to premiere your song on his show. Zane Lowe is a host on Apple Music Beats One radio station, and if you for some kind of reason don't know who Zane Lowe is, then well, if you are recognized by him, that's a huge thing, because he is a very influential and famous live and radio DJ. He's also a TV presenter and music producer. His radio shows are a blast. I remember myself listening to him when he was working on BBC One radio station. It was like this, and recognized by him, as I mentioned, is a really big thing.
By the way, Backbeat, its acoustic version, can be heard on the famous TV show Grey's Anatomy in an episode called True Colors.
She became very popular on Spotify, she was noticed, and she was approached by a very famous record label from the United States called Republic Records, and she signed a deal with them and made headlines with that. So you understand, Republic Records is representing artists like Nicki Minaj, Ariana Grande, Weeknd, Taylor Swift, and many others.
The first time I heard Dagny, I was blown away by her energy. She brings something new to the table. Blackbeat is just the beginning, said the company's senior director Simon Kotz.
But things actually weren't just roses and butterflies. There were some problems, and the record label didn't actually show any activity towards making an album for Dagny. So after the label said that they are not ready to work on her album, their ways parted.
I was living in Norway and I guess the distance made it a little bit tricky, she said. Things were moving very slowly and I'm a pretty restless person. I didn't want to stand still and feel like, there had to be 8 months between every time I release a song.
An interesting thing is that one of Dagny's songs were actually picked by Katy Perry. She picked one of the songs that Dagny created during her times in the Republic Records. So the song that Dagny created at that time was called Love You Like That, and Katy Perry was using that song to create hers, Never Really Over.
It was surreal, she said. I grew up listening to I Kissed a Girl and Teenage Dreams and all of that, so I barely believed that this was actually going to happen.
This just shows how talented actually Dagny is as a songwriter. And not only Katy Perry recognized Dagny. Dagny was actually chosen as a warm-up performance for Sir Elton John concerts, and that's a huge deal. In 2020, Dagny actually released her album called Strangers Lovers, and it received very good reviews from the critics, and it peaked #2 on Norwegian album charts. Dagny actually debuted as an actress in a Norwegian TV show that was showed on Netflix called Hjem til jul, and she was participating in the second season, and she was portraying a nurse. And yeah, I highly suggest you watch this TV show because it's like in very Norwegian atmosphere, and also if you're like lacking ideas on what to watch on Christmas, this would be a very good idea to watch Hjem til jul. So that would be it for today. I hope you enjoyed my today's video. I tried to be quite diverse, and yeah, if you have any comments regarding these artists or any other artists that you would like me to review, write down everything in comments, because I truly like to discuss everything with you on the comment section, and I also read all of your comments. And yeah, before you write down and suggest me to review any artists, please make sure I haven't already reviewed them in my previous videos. So all my previous videos can be seen on my playlists. I will just put the link somewhere there. And yeah, that being said, I hope you have a lovely day. I hope you are listening to some nice music today. And yeah, see you next time!